This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is last year before Purim. The Shiurim are dedicated Lilo Nishmas Avram Zalman ben Rabbi Yaakov Zechron Livracha and for Shlema for Esther Ruchama Bas Chaya. I have very good news for you. In years past, you've seen the Sefer, the Concealed and the Revealed, right? I'm sure you have multiple copies for every room in your house. But now, the good news is, the Shalach Manos edition has come out. So that's available. The Sfarim are available in the front.
One has all the big one has.
Yeah, everything in the big one is in the small one. You know how it's possible? You're going to buy it and find out. Okay. Today we have an amazing subject. We're going to speak about Purim in our times, how to appreciate Purim in the difficult times that we're living through. Can we truly appreciate and enjoy Purim in the aftermath of October 7th? And we're going to speak about the future of Purim. The end of the Megillah, in the 9th chapter of Megillah Esther, in Parak Tes, Pasuk Chavches, the Pasuk says, V'hayomim ha'ela, these days, nizkarim v'na'asim, are remembered and performed. B'chol dar v'dar, in every generation. Mishpacha mishpacha, in every family. Medina Medina, in every community. V'yir v'yir, in every city. V'mei ha'purim ha'ela, and these days of Purim, lo ya'avru mitaycha Yehudim, v'zichram la yasuf mizaram, these days of Purim will never cease from among the Jewish people, and their memory will never end. An amazing statement. We don't find such a statement by any of the other Yom Tovim. We do not find by any other Yom Tov, not by Pesach, not by Shavuos, not by Lag BaOmer, do we find a statement in Tanakh that they will never cease. By Purim we have a statement, V'mei ha'purim ha'ela, lo yavru mitoicha Yehudim. Comes the Medrash, and the Medrash tells us that indeed this pasuk is articulating Kol hamoyadim asidin libatel. So maybe you don't really need to be preparing for Pesach. Maybe take it easy and hope for the best. Kol hamoyadin asidim libatel. All the Yom Tovim are destined to be nullified, to be abolished. V'mei ha'purim einam b'telim la'olam. And the days of Purim will never be batel. Now you have to understand what that means. What does it mean all the Yom Tovim will be abolished? Because one of the 13 principles of faith is ani mamin b'emunah shalema she'Torah zu lo teh machlefes. The Torah will never change. When Mashiach comes, we will not even abolish or nullify kutza shel yud, the smallest detail of halacha. So actually it doesn't mean any of the Yom Tovim will become batel. Perhaps it means the significance of the Yom Tovim will become batel. But one thing's for sure, Purim einon betelim la'olam. Purim is the one Yom Tov that will never be batel. Why would that be? What is the unique quality of Purim? That it will last forever. Why will Purim be the only Yom Tov in the whole calendar that we will observe for all times? That's question number one. Question number two. Let's take a little vote. Okay? Purim is celebrated on which day of Adar? 14th. Everywhere? No.
Wall City 15th.
In Shushan is the 15th. Where else is the 15th? Yerushalayim is the 15th. What is the determining factor? The wall. So you're telling me that if Trump becomes a president and he builds a wall, then we're going to read the Megillah in Flatbush on the 15th also. No? So what is it dependent on? The wall had to be standing from Yehoshua ben Nun. What's the Gedil of Yeshua ben Nun? What does he got to do with anything? Why is the determining factor Yeshua ben Nun, who lived 1,000 years before Purim? Why is Yeshua ben Nun relevant to when the wall was standing? Yeshua ben Nun conquered Eretz Yisrael, but that has no relevance or association with the Yom Tov of Purim. The Jews were in Eretz Yisrael 440 years. Then they built the first base of Mikdash, stood for 410 years. Then they were exiled to Bavel, and then it's Purim. So why is the determining factor of the wall that any walled city from the time of Yeshua ben Nun, celebrates Purim on the 15th, what does Yehoshua ben Nun have to do with it? So there are various answers. The Rashba says Yeshua ben Nun is the first general to attack Amalek. And since Purim we overcome Amalek, so we associate Yeshua ben Nun. But still, it's a little bit far-fetched, perhaps. Yeshua ben Nun attacked Amalek hundreds of years before the Purim story. Why is he the determining factor of when the wall needed to be standing from? So there's an amazing Ran. The Ran is one of the Rishonim, Rabbeinu Nisim. If you look at number 3, the Ran says, so if anybody asks, what did you learn here? We learned Lamdus, we learned the real stuff over here. The Ran says that, if you look on the... I'm not available right now. Tell him to call me back later. So, now by the way, you know they invented a new thing on a phone. It's called the off button. Okay? You press it, and then you turn the phone off. Whoever's calling you, they want your money. They're not calling to win, right? So just turn it off for 40 minutes, and then, okay. The Ran says like this. Yesh loymar, dahainu taima, kedei lachloik kavod le'eretz Yisrael. The reason why the wall has to be from the time of Yeshua ben Nun is because we want to accord honor to Eretz Yisrael. Because if the determining factor, meaning logically, when should the wall have to have been built? From the times of the Purim story. But the thing is, if we're going to go by the time of the Purim story, what was the state of the wall of Yerushalayim in the times of the Purim story? It was in ruins. So it would be disrespectful to Yerushalayim and to Eretz Yisrael that the determining factor should be walls that were built in the times of Purim. Therefore, we made it from the time of Yeshua ben Nun, because in times of Yeshua ben Nun, Yerushalayim did have a wall around it. So it's also very unusual that all of a sudden, when it comes to Purim, yes, that it's very interesting that in the times of Purim, all of a sudden we want to accord honor to Eretz Yisrael. Why on Pesach don't we do anything that is determined by Yehoshua ben Nun to honor Eretz Yisrael? Why Shavuos? Why specifically in the times of Purim are we trying to accord honor to Eretz Yisrael? Okay, next question. Now this is a little bit of a sensitive one, so it should just be between us, okay? Imagine you come from Mars, you're an alien, okay? And you were looking for a school to send your children. So you came down in a yeshiva, let's say a 3rd grade, and the Rebbe's teaching. Amar Rava, Rava said, and the kids say, Amar Rava, Rava said, Chayiv inish, a person's obligated, Chayiv inish, libis sume, to become intoxicated, libis sume, to become intoxicated, Adila yada until he doesn't know, Adila yada until, Beinar Hama lebarach Mordechai, between the good guy and the bad guy, Beinar Hama. And you were wondering, is this the religion and the yeshiva, the school, that I should send my child to? And you know, you came from outer space, and you just heard one halacha, that they're teaching minors that they need to drink so much that they don't know if they're coming or going. We're not talking about, 3.3 ounces, you're just a little, high. We're talking about, you don't know whether you're right or wrong, you don't know if you're coming or going. Good idea or bad idea? Did you ever think about this mitzvah? I know every year it's a fight. You say, no, you don't really have to, you do have to. What is the reason? What is the meaning behind this very difficult halacha? That Chazal in the Gemara mandate that one is obligated to drink until they don't know the difference between Ar Hama and Baruch Mordechai. In Yahadus and Judaism, the most important thing that we value is our seichel, the ability to reason, the ability to think, the ability to weigh right and wrong. How could there be that we have, Adam Arishon comes to the scene, he's in the world just a few hours, and he already makes a big misstep. Why? By drinking wine. The Eitz Hadas was yayin. And then we have a man by the name of Noach. What did he do wrong? He comes out of the teva, he drinks yayin. So now on Purim, we're going to mandate that everyone should drink so much, they don't know if it's Purim or Yom HaKippurim. What's the meaning behind this mitzvah? You ever wonder about it? Now, it's interesting. Did you notice that in the Megillah it only talks about 4 mitzvahs. You have reading the Megillah, Mishlayach Manos, Matanos Lev and Sudas Purim. What's the most important mitzvah? Having a theme for Shalach Manos. Right? That everyone in the family, right? You know the Rambam says, the most important mitzvah on Purim is that everyone's costume should match the Shalach Manos, and the ribbon on the costume should be color coordinated. No, I'm just joking. There is no such mitzvah. Now here's another thing they tricked you about. Okay, I'm just no extra charge. When you were in kindergarten, they told you, I know this, I happen to know this, that Shalach Manos has to be 2 different brachas. Some unlearned Mora made up that Shalach Manos should be 2 separate brachas. Hopefully the other things she taught you had some basis in reality. There is no halacha that Shalach Manos has to be 2 different brachas. It has to be 2 separate food items. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Also, no theme is necessary for the Shalach Manos or the color coordinated. The most important mitzvah on Purim is Matanos Lev. The Rambam says there's no greater simcha than bringing joy to the downhearted. So the Megillah talks about 4 mitzvahs. By the way, I'm very happy to be back in America. I was just in London for a week, and the Shiurim went well. They didn't get one joke that I said. Because, I have very dry humor, right? A very dry humor. I pull it off with a straight face, and they think that it's being very proper, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. But they're very nice people, besides that. You're British? Yeah, but she's learned over there. She's heard me before.
I don't understand my jokes either.
What? They don't get it. Anyway, it's interesting that in the Megillah, it doesn't talk about drinking. It's not there.
Achashverosh drank.
Yeah, Achashverosh drank. Ve'hamelech ve'haman yashvu l'shtai. So but it doesn't talk about that Mordechai said we're going to be masakein, a Yom Tiv, that everyone should get drunk. Isn't it interesting that the Navi talks about 4 mitzvahs? It doesn't say a word about drinking. And then Rava in the times of the Gemara says, Chayivinish lebesume ad lo yada beinar haman lebarach Mordechai. Another important question. The minhag of Chachmei Ashkenaz and Dafka Chasidim don't have this custom, even though today I think they do it, but it's officially not a minhag of Chasidim, it's minhag Ashkenaz, is to extend the Sudas Purim ad halayla.
Yes.
Depends what you call Lila.
Laila, meaning into the night. Well, yeah, but Chasidim, 1 a.m. starts the night. But according Minhag Ashkenaz, the Chassam Sofer brings down, is to extend Sudas Purim ad halayla. In Sanz, other Chasidim Dafka, they do it in the morning and they don't extend it. But what's the reason for this? In other words, once the night comes, it's not Purim anymore. What do you call a guy? He's wearing his tefillin ad halayla. He's extending it into the night. What would we call him? We call him disturbed. Yeah? What's he doing? He's not to wear tefillin in the night. You can't do it. The day's over. Or let's say you have a guy who's shaking the lulav until the laila. What do we need to do? We need to institutionalize them. The time is over. You can't do mitzvahs after the time. It's not like, why would we extend Sudas Purim ad halayla? Purim is over. The day is over. It's not Purim anymore. What's the custom? What's the meaning of extending Purim ad halayla? One more question. Very interesting question. Now, this custom, it's very hard to get away with. But back in the day, there's something called kroivitz. Are you familiar with kroivitz? Kroivitz are like yoitz rice. When I was a kid, I think some shuls still said yoitz rice. There must have been some kind of protest since in the last 20 years that somehow they're not in the... What? The Hasidim do it. But okay, this is a very sensitive topic, obviously. I have nothing against the piyutim. You could say the piyutim. All I know is, it used to be almost all the shuls say it, and now almost none of them say it. But on Purim, there's something called kroivitz. Kroivitz is like piyutim for the Shemona Esrei. Do you know what kroivitz stands for? Koil, Rina, V'Yeshua, B'Ahale, Tzadikim. Okay, these are added tefillos. On Purim, There's a kroivitz for every bracha. For Magen Avraham, for Mechayei Mesim, for Hakel HaKadosh, for Chonin Adas. There's only one bracha there's no kroivitz for. Es Tzemach David. There's no kroivitz for its Tzemach David. Now, why would that be? Simply, the reason is because actually, originally, V'Yerushalayim and es Tzemach David was one bracha. Others suggest, and maybe one time we'll have a share on this, is that David is not such a big fan of Purim. You don't like to say that loud. David HaMelech and the Malchus based David, they don't really like Purim. You know why they don't like Purim? Because Purim is the day of Mordechai. Mordechai is from Shaul. He's rectifying the sin of Shaul. So Purim is Shaul's day. So Mordechai says, have your day, let me know when it's over.
He didn't kill Shimei. That was a good thing.
So this is not a day that the Malchus based David enjoys, that Mordechai is sort of the star of the show. Who's Mordechai? He's from Shevet Binyamin. So we once discussed this. That's another reason why there's no kroivitz for very, very jumpy crowd today. It's like in yeshiva, it's the end of a long zman, 2 adars. Maybe it's the downstairs, it's the paint smell, I don't know. So, the question is, why is there no kroivitz for Purim? Why don't we have kroivitz for Purim and es Tzemach David? Another question. Mishenichnas Adar, Marben B'Simcha. But it doesn't just say Mishenichnas Adar, Marben B'Simcha. You know what the Gemara says? Kishem shemishenichnas av mema'atin b'simcha. Just like in the month of Av we diminish joy, kach, so too, mishenichnas adar marben b'simcha. So the question is, by the way, it's not brought down the halacha? Doesn't say that anywhere? The Gemara says it, Shulchan Aruch doesn't say it. Why? Is it because we're not supposed to be happy in Adar? Why wouldn't the Shulchan Aruch bring down this halacha? And furthermore, what's it got to do with Av? Just like in Av you should be miserable, so too in Adar you should be joyous. If you're supposed to be joyous in Adar, be joyous in Adar. If you're not supposed to be joyous, then don't be joyous. Why is it contingent on, just like you're morose and mournful in Av, so too be joyous in Adar? Why is it a converse from our mood in the month of Av? Rhetorical question. Okay?
Just a comment.
Yes.
You have to be happy all the time. Just less in Av and more in Av.
Right. Okay, good. But what is the increasement of joy in Adar have to do with the decreasing in Av? Why is it a converse of Av? Okay, so I want to share with you an interesting halacha. There's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch that for some reason we don't really observe today. And that is when you have a meal, you're supposed to leave over an extra empty setting, Zecher l'Chorban. Why we don't do this? It's not clear. But that, for instance, I try to do this. So I came today, I didn't bring any food. Why? Zecher l'Chorban. I didn't bring any settings. Okay, that was a joke, okay? So, in general though, at a Shabbos meal, at a regular meal, you have 9 people coming over, you're supposed to have 10 chairs, 9 settings. Zecher l'Chorban. There's only one meal the whole year, you don't make a Zecher l'Chorban. Purim, says Rabbi Yaakov Emden, on Purim you don't make a Zecher l'Chorban. Why on Purim do you not make a Zecher l'Chorban? Says Rabbi Yaakov Emden, number 11, since there's an obligation to drink ad lo yada, therefore you don't make a Zecher l'Chorban. Huh? What is the mitzvah to drink and become intoxicated on Purim have to do with not making a Zecher l'Chorban? So you ready? This is the secret. There's one of the primary commentaries on Megillas Esther is Yosef Lekach, written by Rebbe Lezer Ashkenazi. Rebbe Lezer Ashkenazi is buried in Krakow. If you want to come to Krakow, we're having a trip to Lag BaOmer for the yard site of the Ramah. There are many, many eminent Gedolei Yisrael buried in Krakow. Rebbe Lezer Ashkenazi wrote a commentary on Megillas Esther. It's called Yosef Lekach. He uncovers the secret of the mitzvah. Chayiv inish lebesume bepuraya. And he says as follows. Historically, when did the miracle of Purim take place? in the aftermath of the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash, do you remember when Nebuchadnezzar exiled the Levium to Bavel? What did the Levium react when Nebuchadnezzar said, "Sing to us, serenade to us from the songs of Tzion"? They said, "Eich nashir eshir Hashem alad mas nechar." So Mordechai says, when we're saved from Purim, let's make a Yom Tif. The Jews said, and do what? Celebrate? While the Beis HaMikdash lay in ruins? In a time of Churban? Our temple is destroyed. How can we celebrate? We can't have a Yom Tif. Tzion is Beis Chayenu. By the way, I never said the story yet. In London, when I got to my destination, I realized I was speaking there a number of times, like 20-something times. I left all my notes for all my drushes on the plane. So, yeah, good audience. So, and I had to go back to the airport. So I had to call some kind of car service. The guy, oh my goodness, the guy worked for, the guy was a member of Shifa Hospital or something. He had a flag in the front dashboard. I asked him if he likes his country. He said, "My country is my blood." And I was, okay, that was the end of the conversation. And I was thinking, that's how we have to feel about Yerushalayim. Tzion ki hi beis chayenu. It's our life. So how could the Jewish people enjoy Purim when the Beis HaMikdash lay in ruins? You know what this is analogous to? If somebody, lo yaleinu, is ba'avelos, and they have to go to a simcha, so what are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to enjoy a simcha? Sometimes they have to medicate themselves to be able to go. Says Mordechai, in order to establish Purim, you know what we're going to do? You're going to drink so much, ad lo yada churban beis hamikdash. So you say, but it doesn't say that. Yeah, because if it would say that, it would be sacrilegious. Imagine if it said, chayev inish lebesume bepuraya ad lo yada mi beis hamikdash. So they couched it. They used code words. Ad lo yada bein oror Haman lebaruch Mordechai. But what it really means is, we're going to establish Purim, and the only way you're going to enjoy it is one day a year, you're going to forget about the Beis HaMikdash. The very fabric of Purim is, for one day a year, you're going to put the Beis HaMikdash aside. With this, we could explain the language of the Gemara. Just like in the month of Av, we diminish joy, so too in the month of Adar, we increase joy. Meaning, just like in the month of Av, we are solely focused on the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. When the month of Adar comes, it's the one month of the year, we forget about the Beis HaMikdash. That's the meaning of drinking on Purim. Actually, the Klausenberger Rebbe, one of the great heroes of the Jewish people of the last century, he points to the words of the Kinnah. Look in Kinnah 15. Really an amazing discovery. We say in Kinnos, Eich esmecha oid b'chag. How could I ever rejoice again on Yom Tov? Eich elois oid b'pur. How can I be joyous on Purim? Ad ki yivoyon, until it will come, yimei sasoin lepurayach, days of joy to Purim. Meaning the Kinnah, the Mekoinen is saying, how could I enjoy a Purim when the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed? Until joy comes into my Purim, I cannot enjoy Purim. You ever feel that way? What am I so joyous about? We're in Galus. There's no Beis HaMikdash. So Mordechai had a problem. So then, it comes out something really incredible. Comes the Klausenberger Rebbe. And the Klausenberger Rebbe said, in this case, we understand why it was so important to honor Eretz Yisrael through the legislation of Purim. Do you know why the determining factor of the wall goes by the general Yehoshua ben Nun, who is the first general to conquer Eretz Yisrael? It was so important when we legislate Purim to honor Eretz Yisrael, because Purim was almost a slap in the face to Eretz Yisrael. You're going to make a Yom Tif now while the Beis HaMikdash lay in ruins? What kind of Yom Tif is this? It's not an appropriate Yom Tif. The whole legislation of the Yom Tif was to forget about Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, as part of the fabric of Purim, we determine that the age of the wall has to be from the time of Yehoshua ben Nun. And that's why there's no kroivats in Es Tzemach David, to indicate that when you talk about the coming of the Geula, there's something missing about Purim. Purim is incomplete until the Geula comes. Until Mashiach comes, Purim is lacking. How can we rejoice over salvation that happened in the Golus when the Beis HaMikdash lay in ruins? So it comes out, says Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, drinking wine on Purim is not fundamental to Purim. What is it like? It's like the person who, lo yaleinu, lost a relative and has to go to a simcha, and in order to enjoy the simcha, they have to medicate themselves to forget the tsar and enjoy the simcha. Says Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, what do you think will happen when Mashiach comes? You think there'll still be a mitzvah of chayiv inish l'besumei? No. That will be the one mitzvah that will fall by the wayside. We won't need that mitzvah anymore. Then we'll be able to enjoy a Purim. Says Reb Shlomo Zalman, also pointing to the words of the Kinnah. If the Kinnah says, Eich Elois oid b'pur, how can I rejoice again on Purim? Ad ki yivayon, until Mashiach comes. That implies the true joy of Purim will be when? When Mashiach comes. And in fact, Rav Shlomo Zalman says, when Mashiach comes, there will no longer be a mitzvah of chayiv inish lebesume ad lo yada bein ar haman lebaruch Mordechai. This is the reason I would suggest that the mitzvah of drinking on Purim is not mentioned in the Megillah. It's not fundamental to Purim. It's not really part of Purim. It's external. It's superimposed. Purim is a joyous day. We're going to read the Megillah. We're going to give Mishlach Manos. We're going to do Matas of Yoinim. We're going to have a Suda. Yeah, but how could I have the wherewithal and the emotional stamina to go through with this? Okay, rabbis, they came in and they superimposed in an innocuous way. Drink a little bit, take off the edge of the galus, and this way you could enjoy a Purim. But don't think this is fundamental and integral to the Yom Tov of Purim. So it would come out that when will we really celebrate Purim the way it was meant to be? When Mashiach comes. So it comes out quite amazing. You know, when Mordechai came to legislate Purim, actually, Mordechai's suggestion was make a Yom Tov out of it. What does Yom Tov mean? No malacha. You can't drive a car. You can't do lamates malachais. And what did the Jewish people say? No. Thanks, but no thanks. We're not interested. We'll do Mishlach Manos. We'll even make a theme. We'll give Matanas of Yoinim. We'll have a Suda. But we're not having a Yom Tov. Mordechai said, why not? He said, how Eich Elois B'pur? How could we enjoy a Purim when the Beis HaMikdash lay in ruins? So what do you think? Mordechai's legislation just went down the tubes? Mordechai is still legislating. He's still working on it. You know when the legislation of Mordechai will go into full force? When Mashiach comes. Then Purim will not just be Mishlach Manos Israyehu Matanos. It will be Mishteh V'Simcha V'Yom Tov. You'll look in the Megillah. Mordechai wanted Purim to be Mishteh V'Simcha V'Yom Tov. Will that ever be? Yes. When Mashiach comes.
What's David going to say?
Yom Kippur also, right? Yom Kippur.
When David's sitting on his throne, he'll be okay with it, right? So it comes out. All the Yomim Tovim, when Mashiach comes, you know why their importance will be minimized? Because we had them already. We already did a real Pesach. We've had a real Pesach. Our Pesach, back when the Beis HaMikdash stood, was a real Pesach. Now today, it's still a pretty good. All the Yamim Tovim, you know why they'll be batal? Because we did them already. Shain celebrated all the Yamim Tovim. But you know why Purim will never be batal? Because we never had it yet. We never had Purim yet. The Yom Tif of Purim has never been celebrated. You call that a celebration? Oh, here, you want to hear about my Purim? You should hear all the medication I had to take just to celebrate a Purim. Yeah, what was that? So we've never really celebrated a Purim. We've never really experienced a Purim. Says the Klausenberger Rebbe, the reason why all the Yamim Tovim will be batal, but Purim will never be batal, is because, boy, have we never seen a Purim yet. We're still awaiting a real Purim. The real Purim will not kick in until Mashiach comes and the Beis HaMikdash is standing. Actually, it's very interesting. Chanukah is primarily celebrated in the nighttime. Purim is celebrated primarily in the day. The Ikar Limud HaTorah is supposed to be at night, even though at night, people are tired. The Gemara says, "Like Ivri Lelia Ela Lagersa." The nighttime is established for learning. Chanukah was in the time that the Beis HaMikdash stood. You see, when the Beis HaMikdash stood, the Beis HaMikdash was a medium of Chochmas HaTorah. If you know why they didn't wear shoes and socks in the Beis HaMikdash? When you put your feet on the floor of the Beis HaMikdash, it infused you with Chochmas HaTorah. It just went into your system. So people would go home, and the Gemara says, nobody ever went to sleep before Chatzois Halayla without learning until midnight. But in times of Purim, we couldn't do anything at night. In the times of the Galus, people sit in front of a sefer, and within a few minutes, they're out cold. Some Rabbanim are so proficient in this, that as soon as they begin to speak, people are out cold. Actually, there was once a rabbi who got up, and as he's walking up, he didn't even get to the lectern. The guy was out cold. The rabbi said, "What's wrong with you? I didn't even start." He said, "Rabbi, I trust you." So, in general, in the Galus, we don't have the same breadth of mind, of wisdom, to be able to learn in the nighttime. That's why Purim was established primarily in the day. There's also a custom. What do we do? For those who are not able to drink too much, you drink a little bit, and also the Ramah says, you learn a little bit at the table, you go to sleep, and while you're sleeping, you don't know the difference between Ar Haman and Baruch Mordechai. What's the meaning of this custom? The meaning is we're highlighting what a weakened state of Torah knowledge we're in the Galus. Look at us, Hashem. Back in the day, they were able to stay up until midnight and learn Torah. And now, we sit at the meal, we drink a little bit, we open the sefer, and we're already out. We're highlighting what Purim is supposed to be, and unfortunately on what a low level it is today. So what we're really hoping for is what we call the future Purim. When Mashiach will come, then we'll really have a Purim. This is all based on the one line in the Kinnah. Eich e'elois oid bepur ad ki yavayon yemei sasayin lepurech. Says the Klausenberger Rebbe, this explains the minhag of the Chachmei Ashkenaz, who they try to extend their meal, their Purim Suda, into the nighttime. You know why? Because here we are, we're sitting in Flatbush, and we're thinking, is this really a Purim? What's the state of the Beis HaMikdash? What's the state of Yerushalayim? Eich e'elois b'pur. How can I rejoice on Purim? So you know what we try to do to boost ourselves? We say, you know what? I can't really enjoy Purim until I know that the city of Yerushalayim is b'simcha. So we extend the Sudas Purim ad halayla, so that we know we're now joining together with the Shushan Purim of Yerushalayim, so that even though Eich Elois B'Pur, we're able to connect with the Simcha of Yerushalayim, so that we are Ala as Yerushalayim, Al Rosh Simchaseinu. This is the amazing approach of the Klausenberger Rebbe, and this is why the Megillah tells us, V'mei haPurim ha'ela lo yavru mitoich haYehudim. Purim will never be batal. The other Yomim Tovim, you know why they're going to be batal? Because we did it already. We had it already. They've already been experienced. And you'll ask, what do you mean? We're still in the Galus. We had a Pesach in the times of the first Beis HaMikdash. We had a Yom Tif when the Beis HaMikdash stood. We know what the other Yom Tovim were. Purim, we haven't even begun to tap into. So in a certain sense, Purim is a page out of the future. You know, when else do you see the tzaddik riding on the horse and the Rasha leading him? That's like a page out of Olam Haba. So Purim is a page out of Olam Haba. But when we get to that next stage of history, that's when we'll really appreciate the Yom Tif of Purim. So the Yom Tif of Purim is a time to be mitzapeh legeula, to yearn for the full redemption, not only for the coming of the Geula, but in order to experience the true Purim that we should all be zocheh to experience. B'mher v'yameinu, amen. Afrei lechem Purim. Thank you very much. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know if they do. Do they?
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.